This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock at NRG Stadium. Watt gets him down this time. JJ with the sack. Rock and roll. Touchdown. Deshaun Watson.
Welcome one, welcome all to Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Dougherty. I am your host, and look who we have with us today. Cecil Shorts III, former Texans wide receiver. You can hear him on the radio these days, on Sports Radio 610. He's also a Texans legend and ambassador. Great to be with you, Cecil. It's great to be with you in person. We've been doing this via Zoom for the last 5-6 months for like way too long.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, excited to be next to you, see a little bit, so it's pretty cool.
We have a lot to discuss. We keep creeping closer and closer and closer to opening day. Thursday Night Football is September 10th when the Texans face the Chiefs. So we're going to get into a little bit of that, but we start like we always do with some quick hits and news of the week in Texans land. And on Thursday night, they scrimmaged inside NRG Stadium. They scrimmaged against themselves, not against another team. It was an intra-squad scrimmage. And according to the head coach and general manager, Bill O'Brien, it was a good evening.
We'll probably do this to some degree, probably one more time. But I thought tonight was good. We warmed up like we would for a game. We had our whole routine like it was a night game, so we could. And so I thought we were able to get a lot done. Guys were very professional today, and it's really a fun team to coach.
Now, earlier in the week, the NBA and the NHL canceled some games, as did Major League Baseball. A few other NFL teams decided not to scrimmage on Thursday night, and there was a question as to whether or not the Texans would do so as well.
It was important to give the guys time to talk about things. Like you said, Kenny and Michael and JJ and Deshaun, and a lot of guys spoke there at the end. It wasn't just two guys. So.
And in that scrimmage Thursday night, Deshaun Watson looked very, very crisp at quarterback. He and offensive coordinator Tim Kelly have had a great cohesion the last few years, and it should be even better in 2020.
I mean, my confidence to continue to grow. The leadership, the knowledge of the offense, what we want to do as a whole has been simplified for me, just because it's year 4 for me. So having that comfortability and having that confidence on exactly what we've been learning over the past 3 years, now getting into my year 4, and being with Tim, spending a whole year last year on his mindset and what he's thinking, and now he's a play caller. Now having that, we've been on the same page, and I already know before, each situation what he's thinking. So we're on the same page. So I think that's the next step that I've been taking with him, and it's been good.
Those quick hits sponsored by Red Diamond Iced Tea. Okay, Cecil, let's talk about Deshaun Watson. He has looked really, really good so far through camp. He looked great on Thursday night in the scrimmage, but he's playing against his teammates, and they've seen some of this. They haven't seen everything. But progression from number 4. What is the next step for him?
Wow. So it's fun to see his maturity over the years. It's fun to see his development of his skills over the years. Now it's time to take that next step to, I guess, superstardom, in my opinion. It's time for him to be considered a top 5 quarterback in this league, but that comes with being consistently good year-round. There's a few games here and there where he would Deshaun had a really off night. And if you look at the greats in the league, if you look at Tom Brady, the Drew Brees, the Peyton Mannings when he was playing, they were consistently good each and every game. They had 1 or 2 bad games here or there, but they bounced back quickly. But for him, it comes to making sure he's getting the ball to his plethora of playmakers, not holding the ball too long, making good decisions and taking care of his body, because he's a guy that can make any play once he's outside that pocket, but just be smart about it. But if he does that, continues to progress, he'll be fine.
Yeah, and one of the things we saw Thursday night, like we'd seen in training camp, was when he got in a little bit of trouble, he went to his running backs, David Johnson and Duke Johnson, and they were able to move the chains. Duke looks like he did last year, maybe even a little bit better. And David Johnson he's made catches that running backs or most running backs don't usually make. It looked like you catching the ball a few times there. It was smooth like a wide receiver. What can that duo do for him? We saw a little bit of it Thursday night.
It puts so much pressure on the linebackers, and it gives him freedom. So he can find any mismatch in the defense. If you got Duke Johnson in the slot versus a linebacker, or David Johnson versus a linebacker, those two in the game at the same time, it just gives you confidence as a quarterback, right? So he knows, okay, if my first option's not there, my second option's not there, guess what? I got one of the Johnsons down here, check down, and they can make a 5-yard check down play a big game.
Let's talk about some of the quote-unquote old weapons, and they're not old guys, but they've just been in this offense before. Will Fuller, Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills has only been here a year, but still, he's got a head start on the Cobbs and Cooks of the world. But Fuller and Stills, what do they mean to Deshaun?
It's huge. I think just look at Stills coming in last year, week 1, making the big play, the big post against New Orleans. But having that second year in the offense is so much confidence that comes with it. It's like, I know where I'm supposed to be. I know where Deshaun wants me. Will Fuller, what is his 4th year, 5th year in the offense? We know we're going to get from Will Fuller. He's got to stay healthy. But for Kenny Stills, it's a huge mindset for him. Like, okay, look, I know I need to be. I'm a professional. I'm going to make plays when the ball comes. And Deshaun knows where those guys are going to be at. The chemistry is there, and that's huge moving forward.
The big gain of the Thursday night scrimmage was a dart up the right side of the field, went about 30, 40 yards to Fuller. So they were back in their old tricks on Thursday night in that scrimmage. So how about these new weapons, Cooks and Cobb? Specifically with Cobb, having a slot receiver, that's something that is quite a luxury for a quarterback. And a slot receiver like Cobb, who's so accomplished, I mean, that's going to help him out almost in the same way that the running backs, what we've seen from them so far, right?
Yeah, and in this offense, the slot receiver is asked to do a lot. He is going to be a key target moving forward. I'm excited to see, I used to play slot receiver, so I'm excited to see the adjustments that he can play, or the adjustment that he'll make during playing that position, but he's going to be outstanding for Deshaun.
Yep, and the other guy that's new is Brandin Cooks. The Archer, wow, he's looked good with Deshaun Watson in practice. And our John Harris breaks down his route running ability here in this Telestrator.
Welcome to Texas Telestrator, presented by BMW. I am your host, John Harris, football analyst and sideline reporter for your Houston Texans. And today we are going to take a look at Brandin Cooks and how he utilizes his speed. He is more than just a fast guy running way downfield. He uses that speed in all of his routes. So let's take a look at the surface powered by Microsoft. Now this is against the Browns, and the Browns are playing some sort of either cover 3 or 4. They're playing some zone coverage, but really we're going to focus on this right here. This is TJ Carey right here. Likes to play physical out on the edge, and he's got Brandin Cooks. This turns into essentially a one-on-one just based on the coverage and what the Rams decide to do. Now, good play fake, and you can see a condensed bunch here, and then Gurley here, so it's essentially off coverage. Brandon's got some room to work. He's not going to get jammed, but you're going to have a linebacker work underneath here, carry over the top, and you'll see kind of how his speed comes into play. So what I want to do is just want you to focus on Brandon. A lot of times I don't let this thing run all the way out, but I want you to watch Brandon's route all the way to the catch point, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can get the fake, Cooks, breaks the out, and there he is. Now, here's what I love about this. Brandin Cooks, you have no idea right now, just as much as you do at the 50-yard line, whether he's going deep, whether he's hitching up, or he's running the comeback, the out route. You have no idea, because he's running that as fast as humanly possible right off the snap. And that's a massive key on this route, because now TJ Carey's kind of sitting shallow a little bit, but when Brandon starts to open it up, look how he opens up. See how he opens up? Well, now what does that do? When Cooks throttles down here and then breaks the out, there's nobody there, right? See how Carey's like, oh, I gotta go. Look at Brandon, now breaking down, and when he breaks the out, look at that distance right there. That linebacker bit on the play fake, and now he can't get back out. This doesn't look like an easy throw, and it really isn't. That's a long throw, but I guarantee you that Deshaun Watson can make that throw in his sleep, especially when his receiver has that kind of separation. Makes the catch, 2-tap the sideline, and that is speed working for you. That's how you utilize the speed. Sell the deep route, break down, turn to the out, he'll be wide open. Now, it won't be that way every single time, but the way that Brandon threatened Carey deep, look at him. He's like, what am I supposed to do with that? he's so befuddled, I don't know what to do. He could have run right by me. Well, earlier in the year, he did. Marshawn Lattimore against the Saints was like, you're going to run that comeback, aren't you? And Brandin just ran right by him. So this is how he utilizes that speed to get defensive backs scared and running out of there, break it down, 15-yard gain, move the sticks, and the offense is flying.
Next Gen Stats time, and Benardrick McKinney has led the AFC in tackles since 2016. Last year, though, Zach Cunningham led the AFC in tackles. Pretty good stuff. Cecil Shorts here in studio, and look who it is. John McClain of the Houston Chronicle joining us via Zoom. John, great to see you. Great to be with you. Let's talk about that scrimmage we saw on Thursday evening. What were your first impressions of how Deshaun Watson looked with the lights on in NRG Stadium?
Well, Drew, we knew Watson was going to look good. We knew his receivers would look good. You know, DeAndre Carter, who's going to get one of the inside jobs because he's the return guy, I thought he looked tremendous. And the good thing about Carter is he's there every day. He doesn't miss practice. He doesn't miss games. He's reliable. You know, he's not one of the big four, but I think he is entrenched as the fifth receiver, and he showed why in the scrimmage.
John, what has you most optimistic this year after watching training camp and the scrimmage last night for this 2020 season?
See, so we knew that the offense would be good if the receivers and David Johnson could stay healthy. Those guys have looked really good in camp, but they haven't been hit. They've all had injury issues within the last 2 years. The big issue, of course, is defense. Patrick Mahomes threw 8 touchdown passes in 2 games against them last year. They didn't get a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure on 2 guys in particular because they're in their second seasons in this defense. Charles Omenihu, who got a lot of practice time with J.J. Watt as a spectator most of the time, and then Jacob Martin. Jacob Martin picked up a fumble and went for a touchdown in the scrimmage. And those 2, because of their familiarity with the system, I look for them to take big jumps along with J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless. Ross Blacklock, the top pick in the second round, like all rookies, he's going to be behind without an out-season program, without preseason games or joint practices. But the pass rush has got to be better. And another player that surprised me is the new starter in the secondary, Eric Murray. They put a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He plays up, he plays back, he can play nickel. They saw something in him that made them think he could do here what he didn't do in Cleveland and Kansas City. He's another guy that had an excellent training camp.
So with all of that in mind, John, what would you say is your biggest question mark about the entire team heading into this season?
Injuries, of course. They've proved that they can beat COVID-19. Not one positive test by anybody. That's amazing. There are a few teams that are in that boat, and the Texans are one of them. Their staff did an outstanding job led by Jeff Kaplan. And so I think that if they can have relatively few injuries and not get just decimated like they were in 2017, I think they're going to score a lot of points. I think early in the season, they're going to give up a lot of points as they have a lot of new contributors adjusting to a new defensive coordinator in Anthony Weaver. But the key is the pass rush.
All right, thank you very much, John. Always great to talk with you. And I know you know the answer to this question, so please stay quiet because I've got some trivia for the folks out there. But the Houston Texans and Kansas City Chiefs are the first 2 NFL teams to start the 2020 season this year. When were the Texans one of the last 2 teams to start a season? We'll have that answer later on in Texans Extra Points. Stay with us.
The first guy that stands out to me has been Jacob Martin. Jacob Martin, he's a guy that we asked to do multiple jobs. He rushes off the edge. He drops into coverage. I mean, he's a guy that can absolutely be a playmaker for us on defense.
Pretty good praise for Jacob Martin there by defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. Drew Dougherty, Cecil Shorts III with you on Texans Extra Points coming at you from the Ford Studios. And hey, when you're the first guy that your defensive coordinator has been most impressed with in camp, you're doing something right. Jacob Martin now has a full season with the Texans, or a full year with the Texans, certainly a full season and full offseason, but he's been here 365 days. Got traded right before the start of week 1 last year. What can Martin do in union with J.J. Watt and the rest of this front seven?
Well, I think you saw spurts of it last year. There was times where he made some very nice plays on the pass rush. He's very fast. He's very quick, coming off the end, coming off the edge there. So if he can continue that, he added 20 pounds this offseason. Yeah. So that can be a help for as far as his strength, him beating the tackle, beating that guard, whatever the case may be. But if he can add some consistent pass rush out there, like the spurts we saw last year, and Anthony Weaver, anytime a defensive coordinator takes you out in public and says, hey, this guy is doing well, it's a good sign.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see what Weaver does with this defense. We saw glimpses of it in that scrimmage. We've seen it also throughout camp. There's going to be pressure coming from spots that we haven't seen the Texans bring pressure too often in the past. But Martin was the first name he brought up. The second name was Zach Cunningham there in the middle. Zach Cunningham poised for another Pro Bowl-like season. Probably deserved to go last year, but he's a linebacker that can do a lot of things there in the middle, can't he?
He is, to me, one of the best linebackers in the game. Simple as that. And I can't wait till he gets paid from the Texans. It's going to be awesome. But he is a guy with his length. First of all, he's 6'3", 240 pounds. When you got McKinney on the other side, 6'4", 240 pounds.
Massive.
Those are monster guys in the middle. But the thing that stands out about Zach, he can run left to right. Of course, he's awesome in filling the holes. He's awesome in the running game. But he also can check a lot of guys out the backfield. He can check certain tight ends. And last year was a tough. You got Christian McCaffrey, Mark Andrews, Alvin Kamara, and they made some plays, but he held his own against those guys. And the only time you get better is by going against those guys over and over again. So I expect him to continue to progress in the pass coverage, but also be dominant in the run game. So I expect a big year for him again.
All right, this time of the show, we always do players to watch in the game coming up. Well, we're still over a week away from that game. So what we're going to do this week, Cecil, your Gatorade player to watch who's in his first year as a Texan, could be a rookie, could be a veteran that just joined, but who is your player to watch that's a first-year player?
Listen, anytime Bill O'Brien talks good about a rookie, it's a good thing.
Something's up, yeah.
Something is up, and he is hard on rookies, as he should be. They got to earn their stripes. They got to earn their way. He always says they know nothing. They don't. They don't know anything. But he has come in, and not only Bill O'Brien, the defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, said he's mission-minded. Going back to Bill O'Brien, he said he's motivated, he comes in, he has a routine, he's taking care of his body, he's staying after practice late with his coaches. He is on a mission. He understands that he has to win this starting nickel job. He's trying to make the team, and when you have that mindset, good things come from that. So I'm excited to see him play. I think eventually throughout the year, I'm not making predictions, but he'll be the starting nickel eventually. I don't know when, but he is a guy that has that body type of a nickel, but not only can he play defense, and he's smart, he can return kicks and punts.
Yeah.
So he can be back there if you need him. He's a playmaker. I'm excited to see him, and I think he's going to have a big rookie year this year.
John Reed from Penn State, the rookie. That's Cecil's player to watch. For me, I'm going to go with Randall Cobb. He's not a rookie. He was a contemporary of yours back in the draft in 2011. But Randall Cobb is such a safety valve, such an outlet, I think, for Deshaun Watson. And we've seen that chemistry. It's been building, even though they haven't had much time together. And Cobb was very hesitant at the start of camp to say, well, big things are happening, because he was like, well, I need time with this guy.
Yeah.
Didn't take much time because they were on the same page immediately. He's a guy that's going to be able to move the chains. And last year, he was good for 15 yards a catch. I don't know that that's going to hold up this year, but I think he's going to get fed, and I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities. All right, stick with us. We've got much more to come on Texans Extra Points. Go ahead.
Texans Extra Points has been sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, by Amagi Bank, official business bank of the Houston Texans, and by Jameson. Tailgate like a Texan with Jameson Irish Whiskey.
All right, earlier on in Texans Extra Points, we asked you when was the last time, or the only time, that Texans were the last of two teams to start the season. They're the first of two teams to start the season this year with the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, but way back in 2013 against the San Diego Chargers in San Diego. That's right, not the LA Chargers, but the San Diego Chargers. They played the second half of a Monday Night Football doubleheader. It was a late one. It was a fun one. They won that game. It was one of 2 wins in all of 2013. Sorry to bring that up. But Cecil Shorts is with me, my friend. Don't laugh. You weren't here.
I wasn't.
You were in Jacksonville that year, but that was fun. We had to savor that fun when we could. Okay, it's time for the FCCU keys to the next week ahead. Normally we're planning keys to the game, but we still got a while before that. Almost a week and a half. What do the Texans need to do over this next week in your eyes?
Offensively, continue to build that chemistry on offense. You got some new pieces in David Johnson, Brandin Cooks, and Randall Cobb. Continue the chemistry with Deshaun. I love the fact that the offensive line is coming back together. That's like my most exciting part about the offense, right? So continue to build that chemistry, that communication, so you're revved up and ready to go. I'm not sure if there'll be crowd noise or not coming 2 weeks in Kansas City, but either way, you should be ready to go. And then on the defensive side of the ball, figure out your secondary. Who's going to be your starting corners? It's going to be Conley, it's going to be Lonnie Johnson. Who's going to be in the slot? Is it Hargraves? Is it Reed? Figure that out, because communication on the back end is just as important as communication on the offensive side of the ball. So if you can figure that out this upcoming week, you should be in good hands moving forward.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. There is a fluid situation there in the secondary, and it's fluid in a good way. They're still figuring out things. But for me, you got to narrow this roster down a little bit, and that's a tough thing. You got to figure out who are the right pieces, because I think we're going to see some guys that don't make this squad that are going to get snapped up pretty quickly by other teams from around the NFL. That's my first one. Second one, kind of along the lines of what you're saying, communication and continuity. Keep that going, because there's a bit of a wait now in between when you last played a scrimmage and when you're going to tee it up on Thursday Night Football against the Chiefs. They're going to get another scrimmage in, but we shall see with that. And we both obviously, number one, we want everybody to stay healthy.
Please.
That's the obvious one, and we want you to stay healthy too. Cecil, always great having you on. We'll do this again very, very soon. We'll do this again same time next week. We appreciate you checking us out. This is Texans Extra Points. So long, and go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.